ostracize themselves or persecute the person that they were playing. And this is something that's really easy to do. It's a lot easier to be somebody that we're not than it is to be ourselves. And this is exactly what Paul warns us against. The kind of love where we pretend to love somebody, when deep down we really don't care about them. We do it just because we want to save our face. While our language is not perfect at capturing every single detail, this word that Paul uses is the closest word to describe the love that Christ has for his people. It's the kind of love that requires us to love our enemies, and bless those who persecute us, bless and not curse them. This love demands that we repay evil with no evil, nor should we try to avenge ourselves, or leave it to the wrath of God. This perfect, genuine love, in verse 19, tells us, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. We know this already, but we live in a world that's sinful and is fallen, where all forms of these love is distorted. We don't always love our neighbors as we should, and genuine love doesn't flow naturally from us. What makes it so difficult to love our enemies is because of our sinful nature. It goes completely against what we were nurtured to do. If there was a false gospel written for the 20th century, it would sound something like this. Hate those who think differently than you. Curse, do not bless them. Repay evil with even more evil. Avenge yourselves, because God helps those who helps themselves. This is what our culture teaches us to do. We don't need to put on our face in this because it's a natural part of life. If we're honest with ourselves, we can see that despite we having all these beautiful words for love, none of us can keep it. We don't always love our family and our friends as we ought to. We don't love our brothers and sisters in Christ because even sometimes they hurt us. Most especially, we don't love our enemies because they hurt us with our words and their actions. The theme for today is love that does not retaliate. And we see how this unfolds in each one of the readings. First, in the Old Testament, Jeremiah prays to God when his enemies had surrounded him and they were out to destroy him. He prayed and hoped that God would deliver him from the hand of the wicked. In the epistle reading, Paul encourages us to rejoice in hope, be patient in tribulation, and be constant in prayer. And in our gospel reading, this is where we hear about Jesus foretelling about his death and resurrection. The love that St. Paul writes about is what Christ first showed us while we were enemies of God because of our sins. This is the sacrificial love that God demonstrates to us by sending his own Son to die and suffer for us, where Jesus becomes weak and vulnerable to sin. It's the kind of love that does not allow for him to pick up the sword of the cross. It's the unfair kind of love that brought all sorts of false charges on him by people that he came to save. This love was demonstrated when Jesus didn't fight back against the soldiers. He beat them mercilessly. This love drove nails through his hands and his feet. The first words that came out of Jesus' mouth was, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they do wrong. This love caused the Roman centurion on the cross to confess, surely this is the Son of God. Jesus' genuine love for us genuinely changes lives. There's a picture that one of my friends showed me, and it's called Salvatore Dali's St. John of the Cross. Maybe you've seen it before. And in this picture, you have this overhead shot of Jesus, and he's surrounded by this dark sky, and it's right above this body of water. And even though it seems just like another crucifixion picture, this one's special, it's different. If you look carefully, So you're probably wondering, what's keeping him on that cross then? Nothing more than his genuine, sacrificial, brotherly love for you. May God continue to strengthen you and encourage you in his love. And may he help you to love those that